Howdy, I'm Ms. Lee at the Wellesley Free Library, and we're doing a story time today. So let's start with our gathering song. Do you remember the American Sign Language motions? The more we get together, 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 the more we get together, the happier we'll be. For your friends are my friends, and my friends are your friends. Oh, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. I'd like to tell you a story about myself. When I was 10 years old, it was at the end of the school year, and Daddy told my brothers and me that if we read 100 books before vacation time, then he would find a horse for us when we went to the farm where he grew up. Well, Jimmy and Eddie and I walked on a very hot day to the branch library. We picked out 6 books each. We walked back home, and before we went down to the cool basement to read, we stopped by the kitchen and had a cool, tall glass of water, lemonade, whatever. And then we went down and we read, and then we shared our books. So my favorite books were mostly fairy tales and fables, like Jack and the Beanstalk, or Little Red Riding Hood, or The Lion and the Mouse. I read some Nancy Drew mysteries, and also I read some stories about brave girls, and one of them was 16-year-old Sacagawea, who was a Shoshone Indian who helped lead Lewis and Clark explorers through the Rocky Mountains and to the Pacific Ocean. Now, my older brother Jimmy, he liked biographies. He liked stories of lives of important people, like President Abraham Lincoln, or one that we'd never heard of before, George Washington Carver. He was the first black scientist who was famous about 100 years ago for his work with plants. He wanted to help those people in the South who had planted cotton year after year. He wanted to help the soil get better. So he suggested growing peanuts. And he showed how to plant peanuts. And the thing that impressed me the most was that he came up with 300 things you could make with peanuts. I mean, things like soap, shampoo, hand lotion, paint, paper, and even pancake flour. So my younger brother, Eddie, he was into sports. He played in the Little League baseball. And so he liked to read about those classic old-time baseball players like Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Ted Williams. They were playing even before we were young. So we went to the library about once a week to pick up our 6 books, return the ones we'd had before, and pick up 6 more each. And then we read and we read until we had read 102 books. So we celebrated. This time we went into the kitchen and we took a glass each. We dropped a scoop of vanilla ice cream into the glass, and we poured ginger ale on top and watched it bubble up into a delicious ice cream float. Then we went on our vacation. And when we got to the farm, we saw that there was a red horse in the barn. Now, it was a chestnut red, which was darker than bright red, but it really was like a shiny new copper penny. So we thought about naming our horse Penny. But, well, that wasn't really good enough, so we named her Blaze. Now, I don't want you to think that we were horse people or did fine horseback riding. We didn't even have a saddle for Blaze. We had a bridle, but we weren't experienced, and we had to have a boost. We put our foot into a couple of hands that would boost us up to the back of the horse. And if we fell off, or if we jumped off, well, we'd have to walk the horse home because there was no way we could get back on ourselves. Eddie and I were pretty light. We didn't weigh very much, so we rode together. Sometimes he would have the reins in front, sometimes I would have the reins in front. So Jim was older and bigger and better at riding, so he could be on Blaze's back and could ride up to a gallop. It was fantastic, really great, except for the time that Blaze decided she wanted to run into the barn. And Jim couldn't turn her, and he couldn't stop, so he jumped off. And Blaze ran into the barn, and at least Jim didn't get thrown into the hayloft. Well, I think those times with Blaze and the times reading the good books in order to go on vacation and find a horse were the best summer vacation I can remember. And I hope your summer vacation will be full of wonderful books and great adventures too. Okay, now we're going to do some horses' gaits. Now, gait is not like a gate that opens for a horse or a dog or a human being. A gait is the way you walk, or the way you run, or the way you trot or gallop. So here's how a horse would walk. We only have 2 legs, so you imagine 4. So you lift your knee and you're walking like a horse. When you trot, you're doing it on the front of your foot, on the balls of your feet, near your toes. So you go like this. And then when you gallop, well, good luck. You just need to go fast. And I have a hard time with galloping, so I'm going to go. And let's see if we can do it in order, okay? Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up. Now let's trot. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up. Now let's gallop. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up. Now trot. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up. Now walk. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, 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 giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, up, up. Now grab the reins, pull back, and say, whoa. Whew. Now I am going to take a rest. So that means I will back up into this easy chair, and I will stretch out and have a siesta. Here's a book by Andy Rash. Are You a Horse? Today was Roy's birthday. His friends made a cake and gave him a great big birthday present. "What's this thing?" Roy asked his friends. It was a saddle, and luckily it came with instructions. 1, find a horse. 2, enjoy the ride. Roy wasn't sure what a horse was, but he couldn't wait to try out his new saddle, so he went out to find one. The first thing Roy came to was squeaky and rusty. "Are you a horse?" he asked. "No, I'm an old wagon," said the wagon. "A horse is a living thing." Next, Roy came to a tall, prickly thing. "Are you a horse?" he asked. "I bristle at the thought. I'm a cactus," said the cactus. "A horse is an animal."
After that, Roy saw a wiggly, hissing thing. "Are you a horse?" he asked. "A horse has legs. I'm a snake," said the snake. A skittery, pinchy thing ran sideways in front of Roy. It had plenty of legs. "Are you a horse?" he asked. "A horse? I'll pinch you good. A horse is friendly. I'm a crab. Now go away." Roy saw a climbing, bug-eyed thing smiling at him. "Are you a horse?" he asked. "I can be green or brown or purple," it said. "But can you be a horse?" Roy asked. "No, but a horse can't change color into colors like me. I'm a chameleon," said the chameleon. Roy came to a tree with a feathered hooting thing on a branch. It didn't turn green or brown or purple. "Are you a horse?" he asked. "Who, me? Indeed not. A horse doesn't lay eggs. I am an owl," said the owl. Roy saw a fat, snorting thing rolling around in a mud puddle, but he didn't see any eggs anywhere. "Are you a horse?" he asked. "Not me. A horse is clean. I'm a muddy, muddy pig," said the pig. Roy spotted a furry, upside-down thing hanging from a branch. It looked pretty clean. "Are you a horse?" he asked. "A horse is very, very fast. I am a slow sloth," said the sloth. Next, Roy saw a romping, growling thing. It was very fast. "Are you a horse?" he asked. "Roar! A horse eats grass. I'm a man-eating lion," said the lion. "Are you a man?" the lion asked Roy. "No," said Roy. "I'm a cowboy," and Roy ran away as fast as he could. After that, Roy came to a quiet, black and white thing eating grass. "You must be a horse," said Roy. No, I'm not a horse. I'm a zebra," said the zebra. "A horse doesn't have stripes." Roy was very upset. "Why can't I find a horse?" he shouted. Just as Roy was about to give up, he met one last creature. It seemed like a lively animal. It had legs and was friendly. It didn't change color or lay eggs. It was clean and fast. It loved eating grass. And it didn't have stripes. Roy was overjoyed. "Are you a horse?" asked Roy. "Of course," said the horse. "Well, I have a saddle," said Roy. "Would you like to go for a ride?" "Yes," said the horse. And so they did.
All right, I have 4 riddles for you. The first one is, what kind of a horse can jump higher than a house? Well, any kind of a horse. Houses can't jump. Then, what would you call it if your horse was a next-door neighbor? A neighbor. Then, this is an easy one. What is the difference between a horse and a duck? One goes quick and the other goes, you got it, quack. And finally, what is black and white and eats like a horse? Oh, that was easy. It's a zebra. Okay, now we're going to read another book. This one is called If I Had a Horse, and it's by Gianna Marino, and I'm going to show you these beautiful pictures. If I had a horse, I would bring him the biggest apple I could find. He would be shy, like me. But if I stayed quiet, he would learn to be my friend. If I had a horse, I would hug him. Hug him until he let me climb on his back. At first, I might have to tame him. And we might not agree on everything. I would have to be strong, like him. He would have to be gentle, like me. If I had a horse, we would be brave together. We would explore places we've never been. And run wild with new friends. But no other horse would be like my horse. If I had a horse, I would be fearless, like him. And together, we could do anything. If I had a horse. We've come to the end of the trail for today's story time. So let's do our goodbye song. Do you remember? See you later, alligator, in a while, crocodile. Give a hug, ladybug, blow a kiss, jellyfish. See you soon, big baboon, out the door, dinosaur. Take care, polar bear, wave goodbye, butterfly. Happy trails to you until we meet again.